Greetings to you. I'm sure that many of you would have remembered the name Wazir Mohammed around the early 90s. Or he's popularly known as Rex Prasad. You know, they used to call him the Hindu sympathizer. He was a Muslim. Wazir Mohammed, a politician. You heard of him, right? Rex Prasad. That's not the whole thing for the Dr. Prasad thing, okay? But like I said, Prasad means precious gift. Nonetheless, you heard the name Wazir Mohammed? Rex Prasad? Yeah, let's leave it as Rex Prasad. The politician, PPP too. I want you to keep that in mind. So we're going to talk about more damning allegations against the man who wants to be extradited. Don't get it twisted. Azruddin Mohamed wants to be extradited. He's tired of Guyana. He's tired of fighting the system that he claims is rigged against him. We are going to explore that and more on today's Uncensored Guyana. I'm Dr. L. Prasad. We got to do what we got to do. At the end of the day, it's about keeping Guyana's democracy strong, keeping Guyana safe, and making sure that we continue to go places. You have seen circulating on social media a former Win supporter. Yeah, strong guy. He used to talk a lot for the Win party back in the day. Seemed like a long time, doesn't it? Back in the day, elections time, everybody jumping on the bandwagon. Azruddin, Azruddin, as if the guy reads the Bible or if he recites the Quran. I mean, the fact that his father said he memorizes car number plates, I wonder if he can memorize a verse or two of the Quran, because I've never heard him quote the Quran. Can he actually read the Quran? I mean, Azruddin Mohamed, I came across articles. I'm a guy that does my research. I like to do research. You understand? Education is power. Knowledge is power. So I do my thing. But I came across where the Mohammed's family allegedly sympathizers of Hezbollah, sympathizers of the Ayatollah that the Americans got the other day, he didn't want to surrender. He could have been like Maduro in federal prison enjoying the free food. And at least he could have reconverted in the prison. Nonetheless, he's dead. But Azruddin, a part of this whole investigation on your case that caused the Americans to wake up, which is not 2017, this is long before that, is the fact that allegedly, because with you, we have to say allegedly, since it seems like you are in bed or the magistrate is in bed with you, allegedly, we have to be careful how we talk. What is your ties to Hezbollah? They were investigating you, following the money. There are reports that the Mohammed's family financed Hamas, Hezbollah, terrorist organizations, sponsored some of these terror groups. That's the way of some of them clean their money, giving charitable donations to terrorists, Muslim Brotherhood, via certain Shia mosque and things like that. That's how the financing came. But can you answer the question? Did the Mohammed family finance terrorist groups in the Middle East? Hamas, Hezbollah, even as far as Nigeria. What they call them niggas there? That kill Christians? Even as far as that. Have you been doing that? If you have, then the reports are true. You see, these are not just allegations. When you are involved in these organizations, you have what you call leakers. Somebody didn't get paid, or somebody didn't like your ass, or could be a mole, an American CIA mole, to find out the money trail, to pursue the money trail, to find out where the money is coming from, where is it going, and by virtue of that, what's the source of the money? How is it that this family in a country at the time marred with international debts, sanctions because of Barnum, economic crisis, cost of living high, poverty on the rise because of the PNC. How is it that as such a small economy, such a small country, can have individuals who have amassed that amount of wealth to the extent that they can fund foreign groups, foreign organizations into the hundreds of millions of dollars? How is that possible? So that raises the red flag. And the Americans have to get on top of it. No, this is not normal. Then they follow the trail and realize that, oh, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So let's start from the bottom. How did we get here? To the point where the son of one of the allegedly most biggest and dangerous criminals in Guyana, Shell Mohammed, allegedly, the son can rise to the position of opposition leader by virtue of his character. That's where the question mark is. What character? These people were under investigation for years. We look at the boat, the Curacao boat there. You know what they call the boat again? That they held around 1993, 94. The trawler, the shipping trawler that came from Guyana and grounded in Curacao, where they were, that was heist by bandits, gold heist, linked to the Mohammeds. But how is it these people get to that point that they can own trawlers? They can produce tons and tons and tons and tons of gold and smuggle through all of these routes, well controlled for years. No accountability. How did it establish that to that level? Are they so indispensable, so powerful that governments come and governments go, but they continue to conduct that kind of business without paying their 7.5% royalty to the country? No tax, evade law enforcement, evade the system, tricked countries, tricked governments. How? And declared themselves, got Forbes, the magazine Forbes, that pursues and investigates wealth in different places of the world, got Forbes to do an article declaring themselves the most powerful family in Guyana, the richest family in the history of Guyana. How How did they amass that kind of privilege and power to that extent? What he wants you to believe, it's Allah's blessing. They're the only Muslim in Guyana that Allah favors. No other Muslim in Guyana, in the history of Guyana and the Caribbean, has found such favor with their God, Allah, just the Mohammeds. So it's a special thing. But their God, Allah, could not protect them from the fate that is awaiting, but could have given them coverage, leverage to amass all that wealth for over 30 years without paying taxes, without accountability. How is that possible? And now today, the same man who's pretending to be sick, once a gangster, once an international gangster, when I say that, I mean allegedly sponsoring assassinations, sponsoring killings, and sponsoring this and sponsoring that. Today wants public sympathy, people to feel sorry for him because he's old, 70 something years. You're still young. Look, the president of America is almost 80. Look at him. Look at him. The prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago, she's 72. Look at her. Don't come with the old 70 thing and because, oh, he's a sickly old man. No, he's a corrupt, evil old man. Ain't nothing sickly about him. With all them billions he amassed for all the years, you mean you can't pay a doctor or buy the best drug on the market to boost your penis? Come on, man, don't use that. The whole thing is, how did you get there? Guyanese need to pay attention to the crimes of the Mohammed's family. It ain't easy. And everybody, not today, from then, who stood in the way of their corrupt practices, end up dead, missing, and it's all turned to be gang violence, phantom squad killings. Now today you have this man who occasionally dressed with a Muslim outfit like he's from Saudi Arabia, wanting public sympathy, forgetting that Guyanese have the records of the Mohammed's family. The records. They have amassed, Guyana, the Mohammeds have amassed hundreds of billions over the years. There is nobody else in Guyana's history, not even Forbes Burnham, the politician who robbed the country, not even him amassed the amount of wealth like the Mohammeds. Not even him. And look what he did. You think these people are innocent? You have a Win supporter who risked his identity, his freedom, his opportunity to continue to live, knowing what Azruddin is capable of, for whatever reason that he may give, is coming out and telling his boss that he missed the assassination attempt, telling his boss that he's still alive, that Azruddin planned or paid assassins to take out one of his own. People don't just come online and make those claims because they want fame. This is a man who we know talked for Win, supported Win. We know that. A lot of them don't want to say how much money they got from Azruddin to support Win, but the point is, but for them to come out in desperation The same way Junior Bash ran to Travis Chase and talk about a so-called tape and leaking and things like that. Because if anything happens to him, then he gives Travis Chase the permission to publish it. Well, nothing happened at the time, but yet it came out, all of these dumb claims he made. And all the characters that were mentioned in that Junior Bash alleged interview, most of them are people that worked for Azruddin and still works for Azruddin, the Bacchus guy, who smuggled gold to Venezuela and Brazil to help to pay for the campaign of the Win Party, allegedly. These people who came out now and is coming out now and are crying for help by publicizing their fears, publicizing the fact that Azruddin wants them dead. They're doing that because they believe, due to the fact that the Mohammeds have their mercenaries, that they will get to these people. So these people are saying, if they end up dead, the public knows where to look. They can't say the police know where to look, because the police in Guyana allegedly knows about the paper shorts situation, and the other situation in Berbice, and the other one in Georgetown, and the other one on the West Coast. The police know about it. They know exactly who the perpetrators are, but the perpetrator ran for office, became opposition leader. You're saying the police didn't know? They always do. So all these people who would have been in close concert with Azruddin Mohamed understands what he's capable of, understands that yes, the criminal department of Guyana is corrupt and is under the spell of the Mohammeds. So any case that links the Mohammed gets buried. Even though a large percentage of the public knows that, they are afraid to come out and make these claims because they understand the Mohammeds will come after them and they get no justice. And this is a family that wants the public to sympathize with this gangster and his father after what they have done to that country, after the amount of people that were murdered without explanation, without any justice or any investigation that directly linked the Mohammeds. This is the group that wants sympathy now. If you don't know what karma is, Mohammed and your followers, Google the word. But karma basically is what you sow, that is what you shall reap. The Bible says it in those sentences. Whatever you sow, so shall you reap. If you sow blood, you shall reap it. If you sow murder, you shall reap it. If you sow corruption, you shall reap it. If you sow conspiracy, you shall reap it. Whatever you sow. So coming out now and trying to get the public to sympathize with you, that's you reaping what you sowed. Going to federal prison is you reaping what you have sown. Allegedly. So these allegations are nothing new. They're just coming out now, most of it, from persons who are personally impacted. Yes. But this has been going on for a while. It was quite disappointing that people could actually embrace the idea in the first place that such a person can even think of entering politics. What has politics been reduced to? It's like Muhammad saying you want to become a pastor. If he had gone to prison and spend a few years, maybe 20, 30 years, then you would think maybe he's changed, maybe he's reformed, maybe he found God in prison. But this is a family that has evaded law, evaded the law for decades. But the one justice system that they can't run from and they're fighting is the US justice system. Had it not been for America, had it not been for America and American justice, the Mohammeds would not have entered politics, that's one. But secondly, they would have used the apparatus that they have at their disposal to dominate every sector in the gold mining and construction and real estate in Guyana. They would have wiped out whoever they have to wipe out. They would have put a hit on whoever they have to put a hit on to get rid of their competition so they can control the economy like they did before. Yeah, they helped the PNC. Now, let me say this, folks. The PNC won in 2015 not because the PNC had the brains to win, because they had the money to invest in campaign. And where did the money come from? The Mohammeds. Let me say this disclaimer before I continue. Everything I say on this program is allegedly. Good. Let's get back to the gentleman Rex Posad. We understand the politician Rex Posad was a PPP, a true Jaggerknight. I am a Jaggerknight. I don't know how good he was, but I know what a Jaggerknight is. I'm a Jaggerknight. I'm a knight for Jagan. But Rex Posad was perceived as being, a lover of Hindus. But Rex Posad would have been one of the persons responsible for the rise of Shell Mohammed in the gold business. He would have been one of the persons responsible for the rise, for helping Shell advance like that. Also, the case where a lot of the so-called Jaganites conspired and colluded with Shell Mohammed and his team to boycott real PPP loyalists just for a few dollars more. But that same Demerara Harbor Bridge that the Shell and the people once criticized and talked about, that they also helped to support after the whole story, the Mohammeds had such influence, folks, that they would have the Demerara Harbor Bridge stop, open, just to accommodate their barge of gold. Tons and tons and tons of gold that did not declare to the Guyana Gold Board, that did not pay taxes, that robbed the Guyanese the income of tax. They would have that bridge stop. Inconvenient Guyanese, inconvenient commerce, so they can have a barge loaded with illegal gold on the way to Curacao. So they can send it from Curacao, via Curacao rather, to the United States and other countries to evade international taxes. Because Curacao has a different accounting system as it relates to tariffs and things like that. That's how much damage they have done to Guyana and how their wealth has grown in such a short space of time, so quick. Now they're coming with this bare face to you on camera. Oh, people say we're not showing the newly built part of the stadium. Look, we're going to show it now. Fucking pussy. You're pretending to be normal. You're a terrible actor, Azruddin. You are a terrible actor. You have too much blood on your hands, allegedly. Too much. People watch your videos for entertainment, not inspiration. Nobody's inspired by you. They watch your video to see how much you are complaining of being persecuted. How you can come down from being the prince of corruption to a lowly citizen that is crying foul. Oh, the government is after me. What have I done? They're after me. People are looking for that to see how pathetic you are. They don't like you. But that's it now. Your wealth came from you robbing the country, threatening politicians, blackmailing politicians. Remember, I said allegedly. Taking out your competitors. When Norton talked about the associations with the Mohammed and the Phantom Squad, a lot of people thought it was bitterness. And yes, most of the folks who voted for the Mohammeds are persons who just turned 18 last year. So at the time when these things would have been happening, they were running around and waiting on their fathers and mother to bring home some milk and some bread so they can eat for the next day. They weren't too obsessed with what's happening in the country. They would have forgotten all the stuff they heard. And now in social media, on TikTok, they just watch girls showing off their boobs and school children fighting, and that's what they watch. Nothing educational to educate them and inform them as to what Guyana suffered. So he got those types. The ones from Linden that walk around with AK-47, that kill each other, gangsters and thugs. Yeah, the ones under between 16 and 19, the ones who could have voted, those are the ones he got. But the people who were beyond that, 25, 30 and up, they knew they knew how they suffered. They knew what the Mohammeds did to the country. They turned to the PPP. They would not support the Mohammeds. They left the PNC because the PNC turned a blind eye and helped the Mohammeds in their crimes, allegedly. So today we have a situation where this same man, his own people, are turning against him. Look, Charles Sugrim. He was warned. Charles Sugrim, an Guyanese American citizen. He's not a born American. He got his citizenship through naturalization or whatever process. But you know what a comfortable life the Americans have afforded you, Charles, like many others. And you're going to betray the country that is trying to extradite a man that has done bad to that country by colluding with that man. For what? You risk your citizenship. You risk the freedoms and the opportunities that the Americans have afforded you to support a fucking criminal. Are you that stupid? Yes, you are, because you actually supported them. Now you are in the custody of the American immigration. They should revoke your citizenship. In the visa, they should revoke, because they can do that. Didn't you know about the updated law? Yes. If you are a citizen of the US and they think you have committed, let's say, treason against the American Constitution, your citizenship would be overturned and you'll be deported the fuck back to Guyana. So all them bench cops and all them Burks and all them others who think they have residency or permanent this or whatever it is, yes, you can get deported back to Guyana. And that's coming for the others. They just want to get out Azruddin first. Get him out the country in federal custody. Then they're going to send back bench cop and send back all the others so they can get a regular job like everybody else and no financing. Because the kingpin would be gone and be in prison with his associate Maduro. But that was very stupid of this Charles Sugrim guy. You don't do shit like that. You think I'm going to endorse some corrupt politician in Suriname who I know is terrible in the system to risk whatever favors I enjoy? You think I'm going to endorse Azruddin Mohamed? I've said it many times. I turned down their offers. I'm not going to risk my Guyanese and identity and my PPP's love and support amongst the Guyanese people to betray them by standing with a criminal, an accused murderer. And now you have his own people coming out and breaking the news that he wanted to assassinate them. But it wouldn't be assassination, it would be killing them, because assassination is of a different bracket. But paying people to kill them. You think people will do that if it's not true? And all along, Azruddin Mohamed, well, the dumb media in Guyana, the stupid media, well, he controls the media too. Because you would think that Gordon Mosley and all these other media houses who wants to show that they are impartial, when these things are trending, when these breaking and daring issues are trending, they would approach Azruddin and say, hey, is it true that you paid somebody to kill this person? Is it true that you... No, they don't do that. Because they're paid not to ask those questions. And before I go on to the other issue, what's this BBC quest? The BBC tried to embarrass President Irfan Ali when they were talking about climate change the other day. And instead, President Irfan Ali had to send the guy back to journalism school. Thank you, President. Nice, bravo. Now they're coming to have conference in Guyana about oil wealth distribution. Who the fuck invited the BBC? Who sponsored them? Was it the Mohammed's camp? Was it the Win Party? I mean, they can pay 250,000 Guyana dollars, I mean American dollars, to an American lobby firm to lobby on behalf of the asshole to get him out of federal prison. Who says they can't pay a BBC reporter, some low-grade, low-level reporter that nobody heard about from the BBC? Because it's the BBC, it means it's important? No, that person could have been a correspondent. Could have been somebody who is on a freelance with the BBC, and they just use the BBC's name, or they buy some time. They buy some time on the BBC slot and claim it's a BBC program, and then they get sponsorship to come to Guyana to conduct this town hall to discuss oil issues. We had a Canadian guy there. Oh, not Canadian. It was a BBC, a British person too. You see? Now I have to pause. We had recently this asshole from Britain, who come and talk about garbage, build up. Now we have so-called BBC reporters coming and talking about oil distribution, and the Guyanese wealth is not reaching down to the locals, and the majority of Guyanese are not enjoying the wealth. Who is sponsoring these events? It in the PNC. They ain't got money for that. They can't even maintain their side chicks' rent. This got to be the billionaire. It's my suspicion that it's the billionaire that is sponsoring whoever has some kind of bias to President Ali or the PPP. They're hiring them, paying for their trip, giving them millions to produce content to discredit the Ali government. So I think this BBC's program that they've come and conducted there with all these people, well organized, I think Azruddin's camp contacted, sponsored, paid for that event with the objective of exposing whatever they're exposing to make President Ali look bad on an international stage, to say, look, he's gallivanting around the world, promoting Guyana, but he's starving the people. I think that's what's happening. It in the CIA, it in MI6, it in Mossad, it is some local content in Guyana, and nobody has that money to do that kind of magnitude of work than the Mohammeds. But thanks to Dr. Ashley Singh, he represented the government's role pretty well. He represented pretty well. They didn't get away with their agenda. Thank you, Dr. Singh. And to Tabitha Haley, are you the opposition leader? Or is it Azruddin Mohamed? Who is the opposition leader? He took the oath. He's the one getting the money. He got the 48 million budget for the fiscal year 2026, 2027. You didn't get it. So why every time there's an intellectual discussion, you have to face the mic? He's the opposition leader. He's the one walking around wanted to be the leader. You think if it was the other way around, Ali would send Jagdeo? Look, when the PPP was in opposition, the person who took the mic every time was President Ali, then opposition leader Ali. It wasn't Jagdeo or anybody else. President Ali, as opposition leader and as president, he stands in front. He represents his position. But never since Azruddin took opposition position, never has he demonstrated his capacity to speak. He's putting the black woman to fight for him, while he run around doing his undercover business. But address the issues with these allegations, Azruddin. And speaking of allegations, in case Guyana is forgotten, you see, I can call the name, but I wouldn't, because I want to get on with the issue. What's the relationship you have with Judy Latchman, Azruddin? I was lambasting Anand Nandalal, thinking that he's ordering Judy Latchman, but it seemed like there is some kind of intimacy. Allegedly. A lot of women that Azruddin would have slept with, because he's embarrassed with his wife. Azruddin is embarrassed about his wife. He's talking his wife's name. He's gossiping about his wife. She produced children that are not normal, handicapped children. I mean, you're cursing your own offspring, brother. It's your seed. You can't put all the blame on the woman because the children may turn it a certain way. It's your seed. It could be the crimes you have committed. It could be the blood on your hands that caused the universe to give you what you got. Don't blame the woman. Is that why you have her like a prisoner? She can't be free to go anywhere, and you don't show up anywhere with her because you're embarrassed? Is it that? Or is it the fact that you don't want any of these women, that you don't fuck? You are a sex squirt, meaning you are a pussy eater. But according to a few women, you don't eat pussy, you lick it. You are a licker. So is that what's keeping you out of prison? Is that the relationship you have with the judge, with the magistrate? I thought it was Anand Nandalal's fault. I thought he's the one, but apparently, allegedly, based on what's being talked around, on the streets, that the magistrate is your side chick, or was your side chick, or is your side chick. What's the name of the hotel that you reached the other day? I forgot the name of the hotel. But there's a hotel in the city, allegedly, that you hooked up with the magistrate. And you don't fuck, because you don't got a dick for fuck. You eat pussy. Is that it? I mean, come on, that's a magical tongue that is keeping you out of prison? I'm sure you have to pay much more than the amount of bail you got. But come on, man. All of these rumors are making the magistrate look desperate. I think that woman is married, isn't she? She has a husband. But if this thing is coming from you and you're telling people or whoever you're telling that you got this thing on the cover because you eat the pussy of the magistrate, I don't know. That's what is being said on the road. Allegedly, it's possible. You know, you can't hide everything. And it's also said that you hired mercenaries from Brazil and Colombia and all these places to murder one of your competitors in the gold business. You had a 200 million Guyana dollar bounty on the man to kill him, to murder him, one of your gold competitors in Essequibo. Can you address that? Okay, let me structure this in a question. Okay? Let me structure this in a question. Azruddin Mohamed, are you in a sexual relationship with the magistrate Judy? If so, do you perform oral sex on the magistrate? It's questions. I've said everything is allegedly. That means it's alleged. You have to address it. Secondly, Azruddin, as opposition leader, have you hired mercenaries to kill, murder one of your gold competitors? And you're blaming now the current Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat, for taking all of your gold concessions away because of this competitor? That they took it from you to give to this competitor. But before all of this, you hired, it's a question, mercenaries, assassins to murder this gold competitor for 200 million Guyana dollars. Have you done that? I know you'll say no, but I just want you to address it. Have you paid the Phantom Squad to take out your competitors? Should I list the name? Because I can call the name of the competitors. Since Aubrey Norton confirmed that you were associated with the Phantom Squad and funded the Phantom Squad, and the Phantom Squad was tied to these terrorists that used to cross the border and take out some pointed or earmarked individuals, the question have to be asked now is that there was a hit on this gold miner, this person who is in the gold business, who was directly competitor to you of 200 million. Had it not been for the Americans, allegedly, who would have been in the process of doing their investigation, I would have come across all of these information and all of these leakage and all of these because you know when the Americans hack your phone and hack you this and hack you that. I'm not saying the Americans said anything. I'm saying my own supposition, okay? My theory. That they would have overheard this discussion and this plan to murder this man because you wanted to control the gold business. You wanted to be the biggest gold exporter in Guyana. What about the metal company in America that they had to go out of business because you were they were melting your gold and declaring false declaration, and the American financial system and the FBI shut it down because of the links to you? Azruddin, can you answer the question? Failed assassinations. These foreign companies that went out of business because their ties to you and your father's business. The Phantom. Unsolved murders in the black communities, and we claim to be ghettos. Are you or were you involved in any of this? Is there a sexual relationship between you and the current magistrate that is handling your case? Questions. I mean, I can ask the question, right? I'm a commentator. I'm running a podcast. I speak on behalf of the public, and people are sending questions, they're asking questions, and I'm asking questions on behalf of the public. Because you want Guyana to sympathize with you. You want Guyanese to think you're innocent, but yet you're forgetting that Guyanese know all your crimes or what you were fingered in. Paper Shorts and all these other people, Guyanese know that. So they want answers. You never address it. You never address it. Every day you are diverting attention. You're talking about this stupidity, this fucking stadium here. You're running after these low lives in these communities that don't want to work. But you're not addressing the concerns that Guyanese have. You kill their families, allegedly. You rob the country, not allegedly. Well, that's proven. It's alleged that you are in a relationship with Judge Judy. Sexual. Women are saying that all you do is eat pussy because you can't fuck. And you have a thing for oversized women. You answer these questions, but you can't. Because you don't want the discussions to revolve around that. You want to distract people with stupid, with nonsense about you know why the PPP is after me? You know why the PPP is after me? Who the fuck is after you? What's with the Team Mohammed's race programs? That was another way of laundering money. Allegedly. You know the racetrack and all the games and sports and stuff? Big money, huge money. Wire transfer, mail fraud. You see, Guyana, why we have to stay on this issue? Because every time I choose to talk about something else that is not relevant to Guyana's politics or Guyanese of the country, people tend to forget that yesterday the Mohammeds were indicted with high crimes. We fill their minds with things that cause them to forget about the real issue here. That this man has ties to Hezbollah, Maduro, Russian mafia. His father was one of the biggest gangsters back in the day. Still is. His son learned the trade from him. They can get to anybody anywhere because they have their operatives everywhere to take out whoever's in their way for them to continue to amass their great wealth. To do what with? Lend people money to build their houses and then demand their transport from them, allegedly. Came into politics to hide from extradition because they know that they're under investigation and the Americans wanted them a long time. This in 2017. That gold heist they had in Curacao, where thieves, as they say, went away with how much tons of gold. And later on, they were able to link certain activities to the Mohammeds. It's as though they hired people to rob themselves, just so they don't have to share the spoils with whoever. You know, it's like a gangster say, got in a deal, a cocaine deal of 100 million. But they have insurance, not legal insurance, but insurance that, hey, you know, you can get caught with this. And if you get caught, it's a loss for both individuals. But one of them snitched and caused the cocaine to be seized. But in the process of being seized, it's not seized by people who are real law enforcement. It's seized by law enforcement that the same one controls. So the cocaine come back to him, but his partner suffers the loss. It's like the Guyana Defense Force. And this is alleged again. Gosh, I mean, people are so sensitive. You have to say allegedly. One of the things that people have suspected, the reason why Shell could have gotten away with sending boatloads of gold to Curacao back in the days, because he had tremendous influence over the Guyanese Coast Guard, the military. Imagine that. If you have influence over the military, on the borders, on the Coast Guard, who is going to stop you? The military knows that boat belongs to Shell. That these are Shell operatives, or Shell just call and say, hey, I got a shipment going to Curacao on this route. So boat. They already know. Who would stop it? So when a Curacao vessel wants to stop it, the Guyanese ship just communicate, oh, let it pass. That's how organized these people were. So when they said, when the Americans said that the Mohammeds corrupted government officials, it was inclusive. It was not just ministers or people from the tax office, police, military, border patrol, you name it, the entire system was corrupted by these Mohammeds. These are not my words. This is what the indictment says, the Americans. So when you talk about that, you are thinking, how did they get away with smuggling gold that whose the control of the waters were under the Coast Guard? And the Coast Guard every time thought this is fishing vessel, fishing trawler. Come on, they must know it's smuggling gold. But all these information that came out is that no, they knew Mohammeds had their hand, they controlled. So if I have a chance, I would ask Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, because he was once the boss of the army, say, hey, were you in any way aware that some of your ranks were controlled by the Mohammeds? Because you don't want to point the finger to say that he knew, or any of the other brigadier, or maybe Granger, David Granger, because the Mohammeds did fund the PNC. But this is what you are fighting for, folks. When you forget what has been alleged over the Mohammeds, and you focus on today, them exposing some fucking cheap house for some minister, or some issue or some event somewhere, they're exposing that and making you think that, oh, the PPP is corrupt. You're forgetting who the real devil is. All the other people that they are pointing a finger at are not extraditable. In other words, they're not on the ticket to be extradited. They haven't been sanctioned or indicted for anything. But the Mohammeds are pointing a finger at them to bring your attention to them and say, hey, no, the Mohammeds are innocent. Look at these other people. No, those are the people, including the president and all the people that the Mohammeds allegedly wanted to assassinate. Those people can travel anywhere in the world. They can go to any country. They can do business anywhere. They have accounts in all the banks in Guyana. They're not on the radar of the Americans. So who is corrupt here? Who is the criminal? The people who can't travel anywhere, who can't get on a plane, not even in Guyana, are the Mohammeds. But they want you to think that the criminals are the PPP and the government and the president, and yeah, but they're innocent. Guyana is not the one that wants to extradite the Mohammeds. The Americans want the Mohammeds extradited. The Americans are the ones who held on to Charles Sugrim because of his ties to the Mohammeds, and they are investigating him to see if he's also helping to launder money to whoever is it that needs it in America. They're getting down to the bottom of it because the real threat to Guyana is Azruddin Mohamed and his father's enterprise. As long as they still exist in Guyana, the threat over Guyana will not be over. The PPP has to be more firm. Mr. Nandalal, you have to be more firm. And I did say you need to investigate the judge. So if all these speculation, these rumors are like it's bigger than bribery, it's sexual. That's something else. So, Mr. Nandalal, I'm sure you've been hearing the same things. Don't just dismiss it. Follow it up. Protect people's identity who may know the story. Let them bring out and say, hey, yes, they have video, they have information, and yes, this is it. Then you know the judge is compromised. So the question is there. Are you in a relationship with a magistrate, Azruddin Mohamed, as a good Muslim, or are you the Muslim that you can take 5 wives? You want to divorce your wife to marry the magistrate? Is that it? You're hoping that you will not be extradited? You want to make the magistrate first lady of Guyana when you win? You're one of the Muslims that won 7 wives, right? Are you hoping to make Magistrate Judy one of your wives? It's a question. So I close today by saying everything I've said on the show is allegedly. Questions that needs to be answered. So may I have your attention, Mr. Mohammed? Fuck the Mr. thing, man. Azruddin Mohamed. Answer the damn questions. Guyana needs to know what they're sacrificing for and why. And you don't deserve it. So the country needs to withdraw themselves emotionally from you so you can go ahead and face your penalties. Karma always comes back. You don't kill, you don't destroy, you don't steal. Because justice is always served. No matter how long it takes, eventually justice will be served. I don't threaten anybody's lives. I ain't give life, I ain't gonna take it. But when you think you're so indispensable, you want to sponsor people's debt, it comes back to you. It does. Money or not, it comes the fuck back to you. Until next time, share this live, make your comments. I want to hear from you. And let's know what's happening. I'm not going to focus on the whole school stuff. I wanted to, but I wouldn't. Ain't nothing new. If you deal with ghettos, you deal with neighborhoods where you have schools that are predominantly, the population of the schools are predominantly black, you'll get that. You'll get violence, you'll get guns, you'll get scissors, you'll get all those kinds of weapons in the schools because that's the fuck that niggas do. That's what they do. They have no other purpose going to school but to hit on somebody and attack somebody. That's it. Waste of space, waste of education. You know, Ali should have really instituted that fee. Let them pay for school. Because you give it to them for free, and look what the fuck they're doing. Look what they're doing. Going to school with guns. 10-year-old. Going to school with gun. To shoot who? Another 10-year-old? The teacher who's trying to give you a future? These fucking niggas. Look. Fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone. You see why I don't like talking about these Negroes? You see why? I was talking about the criminal, Mohammed, and I remain calm. From the time I have to entertain the thought of talking about them fucking niggas, I get upset. I get upset because I know society is trying to help these fools. The president is trying to help these fools. Every black neighborhood is fucking violence, guns. Now their choice of weapon is a scissors. To stab who? 10-year-olds? 15-year-olds? 12-year-olds? Who are you going to hurt with that? Another kid like yourself? For what? Because he looks at you strong? Because some stupid ass girl tells 2 or 3 boys she likes them? You want to kill another boy because of that? Fire and fucking brimstone. Okay. All right. I'll continue with that on the next show. I was doing well so far. I gotta go and get upset. Share this live. Until next time, thanks for your attention.